What do you need to sustain the changes in your organization? Habits. Without them, your organization will experience yo-yo change. But with the right habits, you can break the cycle of exhausting, expensive changes that don't stick. There are 4 things you'll need to do to create the habits, and that's what we're going to explore in today's video. Stay tuned. We keep launching change initiatives, yet nothing seems to change. That's what one employee shared with me. She was frustrated, tired, and confused because over the past year, her organization had launched numerous change initiatives, yet nothing seemed to be different. Initially, when a change was first implemented, there seemed to be some things improved. However, before too long, people were back to doing things the way they had always done them. That's yo-yo change, and it's erratic, exhausting, and expensive for your organization. Breaking the cycle of yo-yo change isn't about more planning. It's about shifting your focus, enhancing your understanding, and adjusting the timing of your change initiatives to rebuild the hidden system that's driving all behaviors in your organization. Our brain is kind of lazy. It wants to do the most work with the least amount of effort. And habits enable us to do that. They are our built-in autopilot. Comment below if you've ever engaged in a behavior without even thinking about it. For example, reflect on your morning routine. Have you ever drank your coffee and then can't remember drinking it? Or found yourself driving to work when you meant to be going somewhere else? It's estimated that about 43% of our daily activities are based on habits. Habits are essential for our survival, and once developed, they're permanent. We never really get rid of them. The best that you can do is overwrite those unwanted or unhelpful existing habits with new, desirable, and helpful ones that reflect the current environment's context. Your existing habits are like well-established roadways. They're quick, automatic, familiar. New habits require you to build new roadways, but the old ones will always exist. It's like building new roads to deal with traffic congestion in an already developed city area. The new construction includes overlaying and rerouting some of the existing roads, while at the same time building new extensions or roads to shift the flow of traffic. But the old roadways are still there, and the new ones are unfamiliar and initially can be slower. And so it makes it easy to want to drift back to those old, smooth, familiar roadways. The failure to recognize, prepare, and provide the support, time, space needed for people to build new habits and then make them as comfortable and easy as their existing habits is one reason organizational change efforts don't stick. It's like a new roadway. Over time, the pavement will settle. The new route does become familiar and easier to follow. Even though the old road still exists, it crumbles and it kind of fades away. So let's explore the 4 things necessary to create new habits in order to sustain the changes that your organization wants to make. Number 1, you have to identify the new behaviors and habits that must be created to live your outcome story. The first step is to identify those new behaviors and activities that must become habits for your organization to live its outcome story. When we start working with clients and ask them to identify the behaviors needed to achieve the intended outcome, they often talk about training. And training is important. It's often necessary. However, it doesn't lead to sustainable behavior change. Training focuses on imparting knowledge and skills rather than fostering the behaviors required to apply that knowledge and skill consistently and automatically. Number 2, you need to create time, space, and begin the unlearning process before learning is expected. Imagine for a minute a town where all the houses, shops, parking lots, schools, every inch of the land is already in use. Now, let's say the town council wants to build a new community center. To do that, you're going to need to reuse an existing space. This is what happens in your brain as an adult. Neuroscientists call it competitive plasticity. To learn something new, your brain must clear the space, reassign existing space. Clearing and preparing that space is the unlearning process that every adult must undergo to adopt new behaviors and activities. Unlearning includes a process of overriding, unsyncing the neurons that fire together, and creating new connections and pathways for the new activity to become embedded in your long-term memory. It involves different chemistry than learning, and that makes unlearning harder than learning. Yet it is essential so that you don't get overloaded and that you can retain that new learning, those new behaviors, and those new activities. I've done a previous video on the unlearning process, and I'll post it in the show notes below. Number 3, environment. You need to think about what is the environment. Your habits are your brain's shortcuts, automatic behaviors created and shaped by the situation and the environment. Research shows that our habitual behaviors are rooted in our daily environment. They are cued and maintained automatically and unconsciously by our environment. That's why to achieve sustainable change and live your organization's outcome story, you must align your environment with the desired behaviors. For example, one company that prioritized teamwork saw a dramatic shift in behavior when it incorporated one simple question into its employee performance evaluation and review. Question: what is one action you take consistently to help your team be successful? Aligning the environment to support the change could mean changing policies and procedures, performance evaluations, expectations, or even physical layout. It also may require you adjusting how you lead day to day, the questions you ask, the assumptions and judgments you make every day. Number 4, repetition and reinforcement, time. One of the biggest mistakes leaders make during organizational change is believing that they are done when implementation ends. However, real change happens after implementation, during integration. Integration is where those new behaviors become the habits. Ignoring or short-circuiting integration makes it easy for previous habits to pull people back into their old pattern. James Clear notes in his book, Atomic Habits, it's not time, but repetition that determines habits. That's why the integration phase is so critical. People need time, space, and more importantly, support to reinforce those new behaviors and activities until they become simply, it's the way we do things around here. Because we never truly erase old habits, we only overwrite them, the old patterns will reemerge if there isn't sufficient time and reinforcement of the new. I hope you found this video helpful? If you did, remember to click that like button. And if you haven't already, now would be a great time to hit the subscribe button. Okay, that's it for now. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.